Visa's She's Next initiative is a global program designed to support and empower women entrepreneurs by providing them with resources and tools needed to grow their businesses. The program specifically targets women who face challenges in accessing resources like funding, mentorship, and networking opportunities. Through this initiative, Visa aims to help create a more inclusive digital economy by uplifting women entrepreneurs and enabling them to thrive. Now, joining me on more on what this initiative entails is Lineshri Moodley, the country head for Visa South Africa. Lineshri, thank you so much for joining us and coming through to studio to share some of the ways Visa is involved in terms of the concerted effort to support women in business. Why is this so important, particularly also taking in today's social climate? Why do you think that's something that should be prioritized in the organization?
I think when you look at this, to really empower and uplift women in business, it's not just a moral obligation that we have. I think it makes business sense. We see lots of research time and time again that shows when you have gender diversity within a business, you actually have a much healthier business and a business that actually grows much better. We've seen research, like I mentioned, from across the board. But we also recognize that there's still a lot that needs to be done. When we look at South Africa, we see that women face challenges when it comes to access. They face challenges in gaining access to networks and to mentorship when they are running businesses, and also just to be able to get advice. And I think this is why we're so passionate about what we bring in terms of all the different initiatives that we support, both in South Africa and across the continent as well.
Now, I also really want to focus on Visa. Particularly, you make mention of the ROI on investing in women, particularly not just for the organization, but for the economy at large. Let's zero in on women's economic participation and empowerment. Why is that also an important pillar to grow and invest in?
And I think you mentioned it, right? It's, when you empower women, you actually empower community, you uplift the community, ultimately you uplift the country and you uplift GDP. Because we've seen majority of the businesses across this continent are actually led by women. So this is one of the reasons and why we actually are so passionate to do this. There are multiple initiatives that we drive across South Africa. She's Next is one of them. It's our global flagship event from a Visa perspective. We ran it in South Africa last year. And when you look at the women that participate in this and the businesses that they run, they're not just participating in innovation, they're actually spearheading it. And they're solving like some of the most pressing needs for our country, all the way from food security to environmental sustainability to infrastructure development. And this is where we really want to get plugged in and help those businesses, not just with funding, but mentorship, guidance, and training to help them build sustainable businesses.
Now, I really want to go back to the program or initiative you've just mentioned, which is the She's Next initiative, which I understand is steeped in empowering young female entrepreneurs. Just tell us more detail about it, who it's targeted at, and particularly, some of the gains and observations you've seen throughout facilitating this program.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, this is one of our flagship programs as Visa. We run it across the globe. We ran the event in South Africa last year. We take in applications, we go through it, and we really look at the types of businesses that women are running, and there's criteria in terms of what we look for. That ultimately culminates in an event where we have the top 5 actually present their ideas. We provided over R1 million in prizes last year for the top 3, as well as the women-owned business that had the most social impact. But more than that, they actually went into a training program and a mentorship program, because it's not just about the funding, it's about how do you build a sustainable business for the long term. I'll talk very quickly about the amazing innovation that we saw. The winner was a lady from a company, or she formed this company called InnoBiodiesel, where she took waste cooking oil and turned it into green fuel that could be used for construction and farming and infrastructure. The second one was Molly and Mila, which was focused on waste management solutions for the community. And then the third one was an e-farmer app, where the lady brought together an ecosystem of farmers onto a platform that allowed them to sell their fresh produce. So you can see the innovation that these women-owned businesses are bringing to solve problems. And to an earlier point I mentioned, when you look at all three of these, they're not just building their businesses, they're actually building the communities in which they operate in.
I think it's so important that you've highlighted, women that are solving problems and creating opportunities, particularly in the context of this country or the continent that we're on. But I just want to know, are there other initiatives that perhaps are not aimed at entrepreneurs, but other initiatives that are aimed at helping the everyday woman, walk in her stride and gain the necessary knowledge or skills she needs?
Yeah, I think a couple of other initiatives that are worth mentioning. We teamed up with AfriLabs and the Graça Machel Foundation, where we launched this program called Rev Up Women in 2023. And again, it was targeted at very early stage women-owned businesses, and here providing capacity building as well as funding for some of them. The other one is the iWomen Fund, which looks at granting, and we partnered with them, and they grant microloans and different financial services products to women to again, help them grow. So I think those are some of the programs that we are getting involved in to really look at how you uplift women in the economy. And you'll see a lot of entrepreneurial type of a spirit coming out when you look at where to go and invest.
I also want to go back to the point you've just mentioned about uplifting women in the economy. Now, when we, look at Visa, we understand that you guys are involved within the digital payments space, as well as the duality between scaling up access to financial services, but as well as digital services and integration. We understand that the numbers are not where they need to be, particularly within the digital gender divide. Just talk us through some of the efforts that are being made in that regard towards closing those gaps in technology.
Okay. Maybe I'll start by saying we truly believe that when you advance digital payments and bring more people into the digital economy, we've seen that you actually lift the GDP of a country. And that's why I say when you empower women business, you actually empower community and ultimately the country. I think some of the things is, one is providing access. If you look at a lot of the women-owned businesses, the ability for them to do things like e-commerce or online, run their businesses online, that also provides them with the convenience to run their businesses, as and when they can do it. Also provides access to customers, not just sitting in an area where they are, but it provides access to, even cross-border outside of the country. I think the second thing is, the one thing is to provide the access. The second part is we've invested over 10 billion over the last 5 years to ensure the safety and security of the payment network. So the one is to provide the access, and the second one is to ensure that once people are using digital payments, they feel comfortable to do so, and they feel a sense of security in terms of, their money is protected. And I think those are some of the things that we're looking at. Maybe the third thing I would mention is we also put a lot of effort and investment into online training programs, whether it be, for budgeting or how to run your business.
So you've given us a myriad of solutions and the many ways that Visa is working to advance women's participation in the economy. But I want to zero in on you, as a woman in business yourself. What is your perspective or opinion on why it's so important to, leverage and scale up more women, more economic empowerment for women?
So I think the responsibility sits on all of us, that have come through to help the next generation that is also coming through. I think when I look at myself and obviously the journey that I've been on, as much as it's been exciting and rewarding, and you think about the opportunity, there's also been parts where you will have self-doubt and you will question yourself, etc. And this is where having mentors, having friends that guide you and talk to you along the way, both men and women, actually help take you through and help you find your voice and your place in terms of what your role in business is. And I want to be able to do that for others as well. I always use this quote, so if you would allow me again, it's one by Michelle Obama, and she says, every girl, no matter where she lives, deserves the opportunity to realize the potential within her. And I really believe that, those hopes, those dreams, the ability to want to do more, and that's where we also come in. There's things we've learned along our journey, there's obstacles that we've cleared, and so the responsibility on us is to help girls everywhere to realize and recognize the potential that they have within them.
Well, Lineshri, you've given so many inspiring quotes, but as well as insights into what can be expected from Visa. But unfortunately, that's where we have to wrap the conversation for today. Thank you for my in-studio guest, Lineshri Moodley, Country Head for Visa South Africa, sharing some of her incentives and initiatives in place in terms of uplifting Africa's female entrepreneurs. From me, Kiamokgotso Mosepele, it's goodbye for now.